Good evening, everybody. Breath Master here. But this evening here may be morning, afternoon, or sunrise, wherever you are, depending on when you're viewing this. I'm here with a young man who I shared some techniques with a few years ago, Breath Master being one of them. And he had an encounter, a serious encounter, I don't want to downplay it, that he felt the need to use the Breath Master technique, and it really made a difference in the moment in what he experienced and where he is today. So I'm going to let Brother Snow here share his experience. So, Brother Snow.
Okay, I appreciate that. Peace. So I mean, just to start off, the situation I found myself in at one point in time, I guess ultimately can be considered the essence of the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
More so or less because I wasn't, actively out here, you feel me, doing anything to bring, I would think, this type of impact on myself. So, in a nutshell, I was coming home from work one day, and I was born and raised in Southeast DC, so I've always, you feel me, I've always had my adversities, and I've had those moments, I would say, in my upbringing that I found myself at conflict with things around me to some degree. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't more so or less a person that initiated these, you feel me, types of shifts and
It's in it, but not of it.
Right. So So I made it to 20 at this point in time in my life. I was 20. And this was December the 20th, 2017.
Day after my birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Recovered whole from work, man. I actually went to a potluck at the job.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to go, but I had just gotten this second job, and I was like, I want to make a good impact on these people. My skill set was there. I got a certificate and everything. You feel me? That bigged me up as far as, one of our future leaders, So I was like, bet, that's grand. So I went to kind of seal that with my intentions, like, okay, I want to make a good impression on these people and whatnot. So came from that. It was great. Got my certificates and whatnot. Caught the train home that night with my manager. He's like, all right, man, be safe, whatever I see at work. For whatever reason have you, I hopped on the bus, and I usually get off sometimes a little early at a stop, sometimes a little late at my discretion. But I do know the influence that my side has, or you feel me, the I don't know how to sum this up. Yeah, man. I grew up in Southeast DC, so it's a lot of trapping going on, what they call it, whatever they have you. It's a lot of, it's drugs being sold around certain hours. So I just found myself coming home from work.
And you walked in the middle of the neighborhood pharmaceutical transactions.
I'm getting off the bus, man, and a guy approached me. He's like, "What's up? You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, dude. Great. You good? You sure you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I'm good." So as I went to step off, I found myself somewhat being approached again, and again, all in all, I don't know if they were trying to, sell me something at the time. I kept saying I'm good because obviously that was his pitch. Like, if you need something, I got you. Mm-hmm. But, I'm not the type that just go out this joint getting high. So it's just like, it's a disconnect there. I'm just, then my frame of mind is just like, way different. So the second approach was somewhat aggressive, you feel me? And I realized, okay, it's some shit going on. Like, you feel me? Are they trying to rob you or whatever have you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
sizing me up,
right? I'm a slim dude, but I have a little height on me. So at that point, it's three dudes. Whatever. Some words got exchanged to some degree, but nothing hostile from my end. More so less, just was like looking for clarity as far as like what's really good. You feel me? Wasn't brought up to back down. You feel me? So it's like I'm not the aggressor in the situation, but I am standing my grounds as far as, you know, I was born and raised right here, 20 years of my life. So like, you know, like what's good? What's going on? So I found myself walking off from that situation, you know, or trying to leave the situation. And, you know, I picked up my pace. I'm like, all right, let me get the fuck from out of here. Excuse my language, but let me get from out of here because it's not looking good for me. Right. I tried to take a right on the street that I was born and raised on. I get in the alley. I'm like, okay, I need to clear it down the street, getting out in the crib. Like, you know, it's getting real out this junk. Like, come on now. I found myself halfway through the alley. A guy who I perceived was as a homeless guy to some degree or whatever, it just was hooded, head down, just walking through the alley. As I'm walking through with, you know, a sense of urgency. And as we went to cross paths, it was just this. And I just kind of looked up and it was like, bow, bow, bow. So I took it to the stomach and I realized, and I just take off running. As I'm running, the guy's like, you know, he's shooting at me, you know, as I ran off. So I got hit in my hip, I got hit in my leg, and at the bottom of my leg swelled, and it broke my right leg, my tibia, my fibula. I get to the end of the alley, man, and it's more so like, okay, I realize my leg is broke. The guy's fleeing that way. I realize I'm hit up. I'm like, oh my God. So I try to put pressure on my leg. It went down. I was like, okay, well, I can't run. I go to the ground, try to crawl a bit. As I started to crawl, I feel overwhelmed. Now, oh my God. Like, ho. Now I'm just, everything is hitting me. Damn, I just got shot. Like, what's going on? I'm replaying, like, what just happened? I just got off the bus. You feel me? So I'm sitting there and I'm panicking like hell. Oh my God. I lived on one of the quietest streets around my neighborhood. Everybody that lived on my street were either older homeowners or the second generation of, and it was just like passed down to family homes, the quietest street, right? So no one was out, no one, and it's pitch black. And I'm just like, wow, like, is this fate? I couldn't.
Is this the end?
And it's crazy because I'm not the biggest religious guy. I'm not your biggest on, but I believe in essence. I believe in a higher guidance, okay, to whatever capacity. And I'm just like what I'm supposed to be doing at this point, because everything becomes mental. Like you're gonna communicate with someone or something that's not there, and you're gonna hear it beyond the verbal vibrations of communication. So it's like it was just stay calm and breathe. So I'm like, okay, no panic. Oh my God. And the first thing that came to mind is in reference to breath was the exercise I went over with Breath Master A. So it was like, okay, I took my tongue, I pressed to the top of my mouth, out to the soft tissue, and I took in deep breath. And I'm on the ground going through the practice, or at least to the best of my ability, because I didn't take your whole, like, you know, I took what you gave me in those short time periods that we did, our 30-minute sessions, our hour sessions, or whatever have you. And like, that was the only application I had, because at this point, man, I'm defenseless. I'm on the ground, I'm shot up. I can't, my mobility is limited to on the ground. What can I do in the present right now to try to preserve self? The only thing I would stay calm and breathe. And I went through the technique we worked on as far as the breath mastery. And I, again, started using the application. I put my tongue to the top of my mouth. I started breathing. And slowly as I started breathing is where I found myself to be calm. And at one point, I'm not going to say I forgot the situation, but the situation wasn't as impactful in the present. A female walked up. She's screaming, oh, my God, oh, my God. At that point, I'm as calm as this to say, hey, can you please call somebody for me, please? I live down the street. My name is this, that, and the third. Can you please call somebody for me? She's like, okay, oh my God. So she calls someone. She calls the police, obviously. I'm sitting there on the ground still going over to the best of my ability. constantly doing that. By the time the police get there, they're frantic. Oh my God, it's a woman. Oh my God. My first reaction was to grab her. Can you please come down here with me? She's like, okay. She kneeled down on the ground. She's like, oh, you okay? I'm like, I'm obviously in this situation. I live down the street at 431. You feel me? And I get to reciting she's like, okay. At that point, again, I'm more calm than the people that's responding to, my situation. So, I say that to say, continued to breathe in, even when they were there. They put me in a little artificial mask, and that I felt as if it started restricting my breathing to some degrees, because now it became more manual. It became, you feel me? I don't know. That wasn't, I don't think, the best thing at that point. But I stayed somewhat cognitive and conscious all the way to the hospital, continuing my breath, or being conscious of the breath and trying to control it to the best of my ability. And just remember, like a large light being swung over me. I looked up and I was out for 3 days. And on the 4th day, I came to, but I was in I don't know what they call it. I was just like this. And my mom's like, I love you, baby. I'm just blinking. You feel me? So I had to come from not even being able to communicate with my folks, catheters, colostomy bag, rotting leg, like I came through all the motions to recovery, or to at least the state I'm in now. But I definitely wanted to pay regards to Breathmaster Ern, for his technique and everything you contributed, because again, at that time, at that place, and during that scenario, I had nothing else to ground me. I had nothing else that I feel could be as effective in the present other than the breath. And my mind and, again, my subconscious took me directly to the exercise we went through. So I definitely say it had a big impact on my life, and it had a profound application for the situation I was going through, because again, outside of that and the grace of the higher essence, what else can I pay regards to that saved me in that present? So again, definitely mindfulness, definitely pay big homage and respect to Breathmaster for that, because it definitely, again, I'm here, and it made a huge hell of a difference in that situation, man.
I would say that that essence that you spoke of is the breath. Whether you're religious or not, in every culture, they have different things. Like, they got chi, they got prana, all of this stuff, and the breath of life and all that stuff. And my perspective is, no matter what your spiritual or religious perspective is, that breath is life. Some would say it's the energy of life. Some would say it's the God force. It's the essence. Because, if you don't believe me, stop breathing. See how long you're gonna live. Now, not to make light of anything, but to be really sincere. What this young man experienced was very profound, tragic. Could have been a greater tragedy. I'm going to say God, Creator. Thankfully, He's here, and He's able to provide this small testimonial, because it doesn't equate to the essence of being, even though it sustains that, and that's the legitimacy of it. It sustains your life force and gives you a quality of life. Now, he probably would have survived, even if he'd gone through more panic and hadn't composed himself. It's a great possibility that he would have survived. But then there are also odds where, the more panic, the more heart is racing, the more blood you're pumping. And if you got holes in your bodies. Yes, go ahead.
Not to cut you off, but in correlation to that, it's like, it seemed like the more I panicked, the shorter breaths I was taking too. And it seemed like breath and everything was a lot more restricted when I was overwhelmed. Again, mind you, I got shot 7 times, plus one that went through my left foot. So there was a lot of impact. And in the moment, again, I still sometimes sit and ponder on it, because I haven't assessed it all just yet. But at that time, it's just like, oh my God, because the first thing you think is, I might die. Well, it's a good chance I'm gonna die. Like people die from being shot. You feel me? You don't think, okay, I'll just take some shots. So like when I hit the ground again, considering everything, the fact that nobody's outside, I felt like I had no exterior help. It's not like I felt helpless. So
all you can do to help yourself is to breathe.
It was that, oh my God. And my mind is just like, what? And it was when I slowed. And like I really believe that got me to subtle grounds, man. So what is it called when people, is it like that's a hyperventilate? Or what is it?
Panic attack?
That I was damn near there.
Now panic attacks basically is anxiety to the nth degree, primarily because you're not getting air in the body. You're not getting adequate air. And then when you have a stressful situation that compounds that, then that ramps up. And when you're in a stressful situation, needless to say, that was an extremely stressful situation, then, the adrenaline kicks in and the fight or flight response kicks in. And in the fight or flight, it's the shallow breathing, but that's meant to be temporary. And so you were in an extended period where the fight or flight response didn't serve you after a given point. When you were running, you needed that adrenaline rush to get out of there. But since, you had gone as far as you could, literally in this case, there was no more need for the fight or flight response. And it was actually working against you. And that's what's happening with a lot of people who are shallow breathing, as a way of life. You stay in that fight or flight scenario, and that's what causes a lot of high blood pressure, and all of that cascading events, diabetes, heart attack, and all that stuff. That really starts out as shallow breathing and not being able to, quote unquote, compose yourself to get your mind together so that you can really work with the essence of who you are. So the technique is very simple. You heard him explain it. I'm not going to go over it again. Here's my commercial pitch. I'm offering the certification online. And the thing of it is this is part of my calling. So I'm very sincere. I'm a serious steward of what it is that I've been given. I'm not going to use it willy-nilly. I'm not going to play with it. I'm not going to go out here and pander it. I want it to be given its due. I'm charged to do that. And for that reason, there's a certification, because that's just one technique that he described. And that's one circumstance where it can help you. There's the day-to-day that, there's a myriad of techniques that enhance your life and the quality of life. A lot of folks are walking around with what I call fat suits. Now, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not casting any dispersion on anybody, but after looking at the size of people today in America and throughout this planet, and seeing movies where you have the slender actor who puts on a quote unquote fat suit, and he's, he or she is huge, 300, 400, 500 pounds by comparison to their normal slender 150, 60, 70 pound body. And then, you see them in the movie and it's like, oh, okay. And then you see them after the movie, they took off the fat suit. Everybody can't do that, unfortunately. So the thing is to gradually shrink the body by getting rid of waste and toxins and what have you. And the best way to do that is through some breathing exercises. And that is something that even if you're lying on the ground and can't move, that you can employ. Actually, within the framework of the course, there's exercises you do lying on your back, exercises you can do sitting in a chair, so at your desk, exercises you can do standing still, exercises you can do walking, exercises you can do running, riding your bike, basically integrating the breath into the full flow of life so that you can really have a better quality of life. Because ultimately, we're all going to transition. But, people may joke about, well, you're going to die from something, while they're doing things that are really killing them and diminishing quality of life between now and death.
Yeah, man.
So it's like you can be in a living hell in your body for years before you die, or you can be in a living heaven in your body between now and that point where you don't suffer, you just go to sleep. That's my plan when I get to be about 125, 135, whichever one I decide at that time. God forbid, any unforeseen tragic circumstance. that may stop that process. But other than that, that's my plan. And between now and then, I'm going to share this with as many people as I can. And I invite all of you, any of you, to come and learn these techniques so that you can be able to be a good steward and a good servant to people like this gentleman. I wasn't there in that moment that he had this incident, but the technique was, and I didn't, he hadn't gone through the entire course. I shared that technique with him in a setting of the wellness center that I was in. I rendered a service or two, and we, kindled a good friendship at that time. And knowing his energy, I felt comfortable with sharing that with him because I knew it was going to be something that could be beneficial to his life. Not knowing the future, but knowing the potential possibilities, not even thinking of that one being on the spectrum, but knowing that, between now and when he transitions, however long from now, his quality of life can be benefited by, these simple techniques, and so can yours. So on social media, I'm at BreathMaster A. In fact, this gentleman here is, he's quite, oh my goodness. He's just stepping into another spectrum and another space in his life. He's actually a raw food chef. And what's your Instagram?
So my personal IG page is Raw Chief Snow, RAWCHIEF SNOW. And my food page is More Nutrition. That's MOOR Nutrition, NUTRITION behind it. So definitely check out for him. I appreciate it.
And he's located in the district. He does catering. He doesn't have a spot right now as a restaurant, but that may be on the horizon.
Yes,
a lot of possibilities. Very dynamic young man. Thank goodness, thank God, thank Creator, thank all of the great energy that allowed him to sustain, because he's a vibrant example and a great role model of humanity and what it looks like to be forthright, upright, and righteous in your walk. So check his page out. When you see the food, you're going to be mesmerized. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, because the visual impact on you when you look at his food is going to be powerful. Combining his food with the breath, oh my goodness, heaven on earth. So definitely check him out, and most definitely hit me up, at BreathMaster A, direct message me, send me your phone number, and we can set up a time where we can actually have a call, 20 minutes or so. I can get to know you and why it is that you are curious about the breath. And we can work out a plan where we can work together. The 30-day course is for basically you getting to know your body and its use of the breath and the techniques. And you can share that with others. And then the 60-day certification is so that you can actually teach the technique similar to a personal trainer. And as a matter of fact, if you are a personal trainer, this would be a great asset to have in your arsenal to help your client and to boost your standing in the community and quality of your work. The third level is for those who want to actually certify someone to teach the same. And that would be a process where it would be after you've done the 60-day. It wouldn't exactly be an apprenticeship, but I will be looking in through the window and I will be guiding you and making sure that you not only have the tools essential to be able to train people, but that you have the demeanor and the quality techniques to be able to convey this information experientially in a simplistic format so that people can have them at their disposal at any moment, whether it's a dire moment, hopefully not as dire as what he experienced, but at the same time, a lot of people aren't getting shot, but are killing themselves and arrive at moments that are as critical. A lot of people are having extreme panic attacks and thinking they're heart attacks. Some people are having heart attacks, and not knowing what it is. And, all of that is, because of the lifestyle that they've lived up to that moment. So when you change the breath, you change the quality of life, you change your lifestyle, and you forego those scenarios that can become tragic because of habits over the course of years and what have you. So that's what this work is about. I'm grateful to be able to do this work, and I look forward to being able to help and service as many of you as possible. That's my story. I'm Breath Master, or Breath Master A. Good brother Snow here.
Peace, peace.
And I really appreciate him coming on and being so candid and sharing his story, because he didn't have to do that. He really didn't. And in this day and time, it's good to be private, but at the same time, when you have certain stories that, are going to make a difference in humanity, then, it's good to have someone, bold enough and has the courage to step up. Fortunately, hopefully he won't have to go through any more experiences like that in order to be able to have this type of a story to tell. So, learn what you need to learn, tell your story, help as many people as possible, and we're here for you.
Peace.
Peace.